In the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate, the candidates announced their fundraising. State Representative James Talarico raised more than $6.2 million in 3 weeks in the third quarter. He raised a record haul in Texas for a Senate candidate for their first quarter in the race. Former Dallas Congressman Colin Allred collected more than $4.1 million in the third quarter. The University of Houston Texas Southern University poll shows Allred leading Talarico by 4 percentage points, 46 to 42%. 12% are unsure.
Y'all help me welcome James Talarico!
Talarico brought his campaign to Fort Worth last Wednesday night, and he attracted a standing room only crowd of more than 1,200 people. One of his main campaign themes is to criticize billionaires' influence on policy and society, claiming they divide Americans, Democrats and Republicans, and he wants that to stop. Afterwards, I went one-on-one with Representative Talarico, and I asked him what he makes of the large crowds in response to his campaign.
It's been overwhelming, the amount of people showing up to our events in every part of the state. Blue communities, red communities, urban, suburban, rural. All over Texas, we've seen thousands of people showing up to join this movement to take power back from working people in this country.
So if you are to win this time next year, about a year from now, how do you turn your message into action in the U.S. Senate, which is described as a club?
You know, I have experience working in the trenches of the Texas legislature, which, as you know, is not an easy place to work as a Democrat. But I was able to work across the aisle with my Republican friends to pass major legislation to bring down the cost of health care, bring down the cost of child care, bring down the cost of housing. That's exactly what I'll do if I'm elected as U.S. Senator from Texas.
I got to ask you about the government shutdown.
Yeah.
Where are you on that?
Well, the fact that the Republican majority is willing to shut down the government just to raise people's premiums and kick people off their health care is unconscionable. And I'm glad that Democratic legislators in Congress are finally standing up to that kind of extremism and fighting back on behalf of working people in Texas and across the nation. Texas is going to be one of the states that's most hurt by this Republican bill that they're trying to pass. It's going to raise premiums for over 1 million Texans, and that's going to make it harder for folks to get the health care they need. And there's an estimate that 51,000 Americans will die needlessly every year if all of these Republican cuts are passed. We can't let that happen. In the richest nation in the world, no one should die because they can't afford their health care.
You've been very critical, including tonight, of the National Democratic Party.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, is that just on their tactics or is that on their policy? And if you are elected, my question is, if you disagree with what the Democrats nationally are pushing, are you really going to have the strength to push back and vote against what the national Democrats want?
I'm a proud Texas Democrat, but I already have a religion and I already have a sports team. The reason I'm a part of this political party is because it is a vehicle to organize working people, win elections, and make people's lives better. And if the Democratic Party is not doing that, which it hasn't done that for the last few election cycles, then we have to share hard truths. We have to be honest. I have to speak truth to power, whether it's in my party or not. And in this campaign, I'm going up against the political establishment in both political parties. And I'm a voice for all Texans, and I value that independence. I'm able to think for myself, and I'm able to push back when I need to, regardless of which party I'm pushing back on.
Isn't that going to hurt?
It might ruffle some feathers, it might anger the powers that be, but we desperately need a senator who's going to fight for the 30 million Texans who live here and not for D.C. party bosses.
Allred has also been crisscrossing the state and focusing on unrigging the economy and lowering costs for Texans. No word yet if former Congressman Beto O'Rourke and current Congressman Joaquin Castro of San Antonio will run for U.S. Senate. Candidates can start filing their paperwork with the Secretary of State's office for the March primary on Saturday, November 8th, and they have until Monday, December 8th.